Hey y'all, what's up? It's your boy Evan here. Welcome to the Cartoon Block. And today I'm going to show you guys how I sketch Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Let's check it out. So before we get started, I first want to thank our sponsor, Sakura of America, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's go ahead and jump into it. And today we're going to be using Sakura's Sumo Grip .9 mechanical pencil. So it's a pretty cool tool to use to start doing some light sketching with. So right now I want to just go ahead and get in Joker's head, starting with the egg shape. I want to divide it. You know, we have his eye line, his nose line, and his mouth line, all segmented on the head. And once we have that laid in there, then I want to move to his eyes. I'm going to give him a super low brow line where his eyebrows touch his eyes. It really kind of makes the character seem much more menacing and evil and things like that. And as we all know, the Joker is super evil, of course. Albeit he might be misunderstood, but it's still evil nonetheless. Then I want to go ahead and move on down to his nose, lightly sketch that in, and give him a thin upper lip. And then once we have that thin upper lip, I want to give a lower cast shadow on his lower lip. And now we can go ahead and add in the outer contour of his face, putting in his, his cheeks. So we're going to define his cheeks, the outer edge of his mouth muscles, chin, the jawline. And now we can come up to his hair and start putting in the hairline, lightly sketching in maybe some brief little small shadows to kind of indicate the light source. And I love how his hair is slicked back. He's a Joker that we don't normally see. I love what Joaquin Phoenix did with the character, him and the director Todd Phillips, on how they created the look of this Joker. He's just run down. Life has really treated him awfully. And it's a Joker that we haven't seen before. It's something new. And it's set in a more believable world. So if you haven't seen the Joker movie, I highly recommend it. It really is a in-depth look, at someone's evolution and a character study. So now I want to use my pencil to simply put in, just define more of the light source. And we can go ahead and just start putting in a core shadow on the front of his face. Now we also have to keep in mind that we want to make the areas that have the makeup on him, like his eye makeup, his nose, and then of course I want to put in some darker shadows to indicate the makeup around his mouth, so his clown makeup. So I want to have the shadow on his face to be a light gray layer with my pencil, and then I can use, go a little bit darker to show where the makeup values are a little bit darker than the shadow on his face. Otherwise, if the values were all the same, then it would, not look quite right. And as you can see here, I'm using my Sakura of America Micron. I love these inking pens. They are so great. And again, I want to thank Sakura for providing me with these pens. They can just really make the drawing pop. The Microns really are excellent when you want to put in some nice fine lines and really good crisp inking lines of different, thicknesses and line weights. And so here I'm just using any regular, old kind of pencil to simply just add in some more shading and rendering. I want to quickly put in his hand down here, and I use my own hand as reference. I'm just showing him holding his cigarette, and just using the Micron to simply go ahead and add in more details on the hand. And I'm always looking at my own hand as reference. So as you can see, I'm just juggling, different tools. I'll use a pencil to get some light shading in there, using the side of it, just some brief sketching. But my main tools that I like to use here, are the Sumo Grip and the Micron inking pens. They really work well, and I travel with them like almost wherever I go. When I'm traveling out of town, or I know I'm going to be gone for a few days, I really like to have those things with me and handy. So if you haven't gotten your hands on some Microns, I highly recommend it. So here I'm just using the Microns to kind of like flesh in and darken in more of the makeup values on his face. So since this is a black and white drawing with no color, we have to somehow be able to define those values some kind of way. And here I do that by just making the shading in the areas of the makeup on his face a little bit darker than the shadow on his face. So if this was a color piece, then we would just use color to define those darker values on it. And we can just quickly throw in some light shadows over his jacket, because his head will cast a shadow on the front of his body. So this kind of tells us that the light source is definitely behind him. So back to just using the Sakura Micron to simply put in some ashes on his cigarette, throw in a quick little, like, smoke coming out of his cigarette. And I'm going to go ahead and darken in certain outlines on his suit with the microns, and just shade in, put some more like blocks of shadows on his hair, and that makes it that much more believable. Now I want to switch over to start using my Sakura Jelly Roll pen to kind of just make the whites of his eyes even whiter, even though the paper I have here is kind of a ivory white, kind of a dirty white. I want to go ahead and use the Jelly Roll pen here. It really works well to kind of add those highlighted white parts. And now I can go back with the Micron pen and just darken up his eyelids and the eyeliner around him. So when you have that dark black contrasted with the white next to it, it makes the drawing pop that much more. And there you have it. That's Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Thanks for watching. Also, be sure you click the link in the description below and download my free high-res scan of the drawing. Yes, that's my free gift to you. Go ahead and download a high-res scan of the Joker drawing right now. You can study it, copy it, do whatever you want to with it. Just don't let your dog eat it, all right? Click the link, download it right now. Till next time, deuces.